Hey, what's up, AfterBuzzers? We are here on Halloween night talking A Million Little Things, episode 6, where a lot of unexpected things have happened tonight, so stay tuned.
You're tuned in to AfterBuzz TV, the ESPN of TV talk. Now, let the buzz begin.
Oh, yeah. We're gonna rock it out. Just as Eddie is rocking it out tonight on this episode. Hey.
Happy Halloween, guys.
You have a great voice.
Happy Halloween. Happy Halloween.
Happy Halloween. Yes, well, hey, what an episode has that been again? Seriously unexpected.
My head is still reeling.
Hey, what's up, guys? My name is Yasmine Tanres. Tonight, our lovely host Laura couldn't join us, but the rest of us are here, so I am joined to my left.
Hi, everybody. I'm Maggie Clark, and I ate a lot of Halloween candy today.
Well, excuse me. What's up, guys? I'm Tay Alexandria, and I am healthy.
Sugar shaving.
Well, it's the time to celebrate, but in this case, there's a few celebrations that could be seen in perspective, but we're not sure how pleasant it is. So we're going to be jumping into a grieving widow with a baby on the way to abort or not to abort. So the whole relationship with Delilah, Eddie, John, Gary, and Maggie. Then we'll be looking at Rome and Gina. That came out with the whole suicidal note. And Ashley trying to deal with things that she's still hiding under the rug and perhaps trying to find out who Barbara Morgan is. So before we jump into these topics and into our special segment of hashtag Little Things ABTV, where we will be breaking it a little bit down and telling you what we each took away from the show, I want to know what you both thought about tonight's episode, starting off with you, Maggie.
Well, wow, you guys. Like I said, my head is still reeling from this episode. It was so emotional. So much happened. But honestly, I was really blown away by the acting. These actors were so unbelievably talented in this episode, and they really showed us their range in this episode. So it was extraordinary.
It was definitely a tearful episode. However, I was just slightly is an understatement. I was very disappointed in so many characters and how they went about things. Like, for example, Rome. Rome should have, we'll talk about it later. But I was just saying I was disappointed. But altogether, it was a good episode.
Right. Yeah, so a lot of excitement again, as it is every week. I find like there's always a real shocking moment where you're like, oh, okay, it's all going to be fine. And then all of a sudden, whoa, what just happened there? So we're going to jump in. And I think overall as well, this was another great part of the show. Very intense. And well picked up on Maggie about the acting skills. I think there definitely was a lot of range and emotions. So Delilah trying to handle this whole situation of the pregnancy, I felt like that came out so early on game night. And do you think the way that she handled it, was it appropriate of her to brush it underneath the carpet as she did, in a sense of hiding who it really was?
Absolutely not. I don't think she should have handled it like that to Eddie. I think right off the bat, because she had that moment with Eddie when they went to the private room, and she was like, "Can I talk to you?" I think that was the moment where she should have said like, "Hey, it is yours." But I understand her not saying it in public like that because she didn't want to handle the friends in the circle yet. Like last time, she just got bashed by all the friends once she found out they were having an affair. But I don't think it was right for her to keep. This pregnancy confusion was kind of unnecessary.
Yeah.
What do you think?
Well, I agree with you, Tay. I think that she absolutely should have been honest with Eddie right from the get-go. Gosh, that whole game night scene was just cringeworthy. I mean, the whole time I was like, oh man, this is so awkward. I mean, it was awful. And, with Delilah almost getting wine and Rome's like, no, and everybody knows and some people know, and it was so awkward. So... But I think, honestly, that this friend group is so close.
They are.
And I think that they all can't really keep a secret from one another. So I think that everyone is certainly going to find out that Eddie is the father at some point. So I feel like she should have been honest with them from the get-go. Be
agree.
like, look, this is our baby. I know that would probably be extremely difficult for her to come clean about, but I think that at some point it's going to come out anyway. So she may as well say it.
That is true. Although I feel like it's such a difficult question, and because it's all about timing, isn't it? I feel like nobody would have been prepared. And also, I couldn't explain to myself the friendship then dynamic between Gina and Delilah, how it was so friendly between the two. And I almost feel like Delilah had to say it was John's in order to keep that dynamic going, in a sense, to save as well their partnership in this restaurant. And given the circumstances, their friendship circle has been going through this roller coaster. And we don't know what actually happened before this entire series. Like we can imagine, but you're right. Like I feel like at this point, everybody should be more open, and everybody is becoming more open. So I just feel like at this point, Delilah, I just feel she was okay to respond in that sense. But granted, I feel it will come out. It definitely will come out at some point.
It will, like
Yeah.
everything else.
Yeah. I mean, I understand that she wanted to protect her children from this secret because it works out better for her children and to save face with everyone else around her if John is the father. But at the same time, it's absolutely going to come out and it's all going to blow up.
Well, that's what I was saying for the kids' sake. I understand her kind of keep, at least only one person knows. At least Eddie, only Eddie would know. So it's like only one person that knows the situation. So she doesn't have to worry about like everybody accidentally getting it to the kids. She's
Right.
kind of timing. It's like you said, it's all about timing.
Yeah.
Later, it will come out and they're close enough. They're going to understand. They're going to get over it. They're going to be shocked. But they're also going to be this loving support group that they've still been. So eventually.
Yeah.
I agree. We hope.
I mean, hopefully, and I think as well, you know, Catherine, she did not appear in this episode at all. We hear of her, and I feel like the separation happened quite fast. Obviously, we don't know how much time there was in between, but you know, I think that's also to save face as well there for the relationship between the three of them and Theo. Isn't Theo such a cutie in this episode? Can we just quickly get into Eddie and Theo as well?
It's like the child prodigy I probably will never have, but I want so bad. That child is perfect.
I feel like he's such a product, though, of his parents. I feel like, you know, a lot of times you're hearing of these parents who are just overly protective. And I don't have kids yet, but I feel as if I might be one of these parents who are like, no, you know, non-GMO foods, like no sugar, you know, don't feed the ducks because it could hurt them and it could damage our ecosystem. So he's taken all of these things from his parents and he's so impressionable. And it's kind of cute to see the kind of child that he's become because of that influence from his parents.
This child already knows to put SPF on his face.
Right.
Above 50 or put a hat on. I am 27 and I just started doing that. That just says a lot about this child.
Like, can't you see Catherine, like, you know, just instilling those lessons in him daily? Yeah.
Yes, and also at
great
school,
parents.
I feel like
definitely.
he's just such a on-point little boy, such a good little boy.
So sweet.
And will just abide to anything. And then I just love how Maggie is trying to corrupt him.
I was saying that. I was like, she is not the right one to be taking this child out anywhere.
She's like that fun auntie, though, that he will turn to.
She's more so like auntie type.
Yeah.
Like I would have picked Gary. So like if it was one of those two, I would pick Gary to like watch.
Well, Gary had something else to do.
That's true.
Yeah.
That's true.
Maggie was babysitting Theo.
That's what we should get into as well with the whole abortion. I mean, that was a very intense moment. At this point, we still thought the father was John, and I was definitely rooting, do not abort, do not abort. Now, at this point, I question, should she abort or not? Because what is the results of this? I just wonder what is going to happen. I'm going to stay away from this topic because it's a very, like... It's a very difficult topic
Like a
because
touchy political
abortion
one, yeah.
versus non-abortion, in this situation, it is so complicated, and I think in any situation,
And she is a fictional character, but if she was a real person, obviously it would be her decision.
Yes.
You know, it wouldn't be for us to weigh in. It's her decision whether or not she wants to keep the baby. But honestly, that was such a overwhelming scene to watch. I mean, just watching everything kind of happen in slow motion around her and just the emotion on her face. And it was just heart-wrenching imagining being in that situation, this grieving widow, and she's pregnant with another man's child and just not knowing what to do. And her future just seems so uncertain. It was hard to watch.
So did you guys think, just going back, it was Eddie's or was it John's this whole time?
I thought it was Eddie's. That's what we said in the prediction. Well, that's what I
thought it was
said.
Eddie's. Yeah,
Yeah.
I really thought it was Eddie's. For moral purposes,
Right.
I was like, obviously I would want it to be John's, but morally, but for storyline purposes and drama,
Right.
kind of happy it's Eddie's.
Also, I thought it was odd in this scene that she chose Gary to go with her. Why didn't she choose Regina? Because Regina's supposed to be her best friend. And I personally, if that were me, I would want the support of my female best friend.
Me too.
And Gary was so judgmental towards her when the affair came out. He was, so angry. He had so much anger towards her and towards Eddie. And all of a sudden she was like, no, I want you to be the person who goes with me on this extremely stressful, emotional day.
I guess it's because ultimately he was the first outsider to find out. And he did have that strong response, and he needed to come around. And I almost feel like it was appropriate of her to reach out to him. It's sort of another way, another step of binding them closer as friends. However, I need to do a little shout out here to Jana Humley. She commented on our last episode breakdown, saying, I can see Gary and Delilah actually ending up together instead of Eddie and Delilah. As much as Eddie and Delilah did love and care for each other, their relationship was largely a moment of weakness and a time of need for both of them. And even if it turns out their affair was not the reason that John killed himself, there will be that overhanging guilt that it could possibly be part of what had caused John to commit to this deed. So I don't think the relationship between Eddie and Delilah would ever be revived again. Gary is the family friend who is always there. He was the person who informed Delilah of the fact her husband had killed himself. And she does go on to really, and she
very
does
thoughtful.
state that
Very.
he acts like a pseudo father figure to her kids.
Right.
He is that type of person that's always there.
Yeah, that's true. And he's so loving and caring towards his friends.
Right.
But I feel like Delilah and Gary are more of like a brother-sister dynamic. I don't know.
I
That
see
would
it.
be interesting.
Is this is just a question. Is Regina and Delilah still on the outs, or did they ever mend? I don't remember.
They mended.
They mended?
Yeah, they did.
I would definitely want to have Regina there.
Right.
Yeah, I don't understand that. Just regardless of the brother-sister relationship they might have, just having a female in that moment, that's such a female woman moment. I'd rather have my girls there. Or a girl, not girls, but one girl.
very
My best
Absolutely.
friend.
That is true. But then in this case, we also don't know if Regina would have said, well, my mom is here, which is another relationship there.
I mean, that's true, but look at what's kind of more important in that situation, though.
Right,
Going
yeah.
to the clinic for a potential abortion, or my mom's in town.
Well, then I'm curious as to why they put that in the writing. Why is Gary there the whole time? Like, he's literally there for everybody, right? Like, He
Right.
then goes over to Eddie and he helps out with Theo. So I'm really curious to see how his journey develops. And then also alongside Maggie. I mean, both of them are such a cute couple. I almost feel like they should have kids. I hope
Maggie and Gary?
Yeah,
Maggie just
even
makes
though
me
they're a
upset
bit of a
right now.
mess, but why does she make you upset?
Because she doesn't want to do chemo, and she pretty much like allowed this man to fall in love with her, and he's like, just kidding, I just want to die. So don't worry about your feelings. I don't care about your feelings. That's what I was saying last episode, and I don't like her for that.
But then isn't there a moment of her also saying that if she were to go through chemo, she might also not last. She might also have just a few months to last. Whereas if she was to just live it, it's such a difficult topic again. Like,
But at least she tried, though. I
Yes.
would want you to try. Don't just give
Definitely.
up. I don't like giving up.
I agree.
Yes. Well, beyond that, Tay's got a message for all of you.
I have a message. Hey, AfterBuzzers. Our network produces after shows for nearly all of your favorite TV shows. From dramas, reality TV, sci-fi, and more, there is no network that works harder to serve television fans. But we need your help. we're asking that you please subscribe to one or more of our YouTube channels. By subscribing to our channel, YouTube will suggest content that's tailor-made for you, and you'll help AfterBuzz continue to grow. And if you're worried about pesky notifications, don't be, because they are optional. So hit that subscribe button now for this channel and check out our other AfterBuzz YouTube channels as well. Let us know you did so in the comments, and we'll thank you on air. But for now, thanks for being the best fans and for helping us be the ESPN of TV Talk.
Hey, yes, thank you, Tay. And we really do follow up on your conversation online, and we've had some great comments, and do check into our live chat currently so we can chime in into whatever your thoughts are as well, and hashtag little things ABTV so that you ABTV, that's it, yes, I got that right.
Got it.
I don't know why whenever you're in the hot seat you're like, oh, is it ABTV? Yes, it is. And let us know what you took away from this episode. Okay, now let's get into another intense moment, the whole dynamic between Rome and Gina. Suicidal note coming out. Baby drama as well, in a way.
I just want to say, slightly off topic, that Shelly is such a busybody. She's so nosy. I mean, who opens somebody else's package? That's so rude.
That was much, Mom.
Right. That was just too much. That's actually like illegal to open up someone's mail.
Wow.
That isn't addressed to you. So that upset me. And then she really orchestrated, so much tension and drama, and poor Rome, is pleading with her like, I want to be the one to have this conversation. I want to be the one to talk about this potential of having a child with my wife. And she's just dropping hints left and right. Like, what are you going to do about the children's menu? And, all this stuff about kids, like stay-at-home fathers. And it was just none of her business.
But
she's
like waiting for me to say, but here's the thing. I didn't like Mom at first because I feel like she was prying too much. However, Rome, as we see, tends to not speak up for himself. Here's the reason why I say that. It's because look what happened this episode. Because first of all, why did he leave? Why did he even keep the suicide letter in the first place around the house?
Right.
Second of all, this is what happens when you're not honest, especially with your significant other. Like, she was hurt. The hurt in her, this is the great acting you were talking about. She was hurt, and all he had to do, that's supposed to be your best friend, your significant other, your wife, like, that's the one person you do tell everything to. So I kind of like the fact that Shelly is her name, right? The mom kind of tried to push it, though. Like, you need to just say something, because Regina has no idea that Rome wants to, like, not have a child.
Right,
you see what I mean?
It's her place.
It's not her place, but that's what she was hinting. And also, I think it's her fault. It is, but I think she just wanted to protect their marriage, and so because she learned from her mistakes from her past marriage.
Yes.
So I kind of understand that as a mother. A little too much. I do agree with you on that, but I see why.
Yes. Well, mum's always the word, and they know best.
Moms know.
They know.
They know everything.
And here's the thing, I mean, they've been through so many experiences, and I know I'm talking more generic here, but it's true. Like, they will have had accumulated relationships, and we as children do not know really what they have gone through. There are certain things that they will not tell us. But then here's the funny thing, in a sense, or ironic, that she's trying to push him to speak up because she's probably learned from her previous relationship. So I do agree Shelly is a little bit too strong. I know this from my mom, can be very strong too. We all know this, right? But I do also feel that whilst they were having the dinner and she was really trying to push Rome to come out with him wanting to have children, that it was not in her place. But she knew, and I almost feel like, and I question if you think so too, that she knew that that was going to be her daughter's response, and that this will force Rome to actually open up and tell Gina that he wants children at some point. Now I think it's gonna work towards it in some way, because now this has come up with the letter, so they're gonna be working through that. But I think, Shelly did know what she was doing at that point in space.
So where was the letter? Where did
Oh,
she
that makes me so
find it?
mad. That's why
Like, all of a sudden, she comes back from the elevator and she's got this letter in her hand. Like, where did it come from? That's what I want to know. Where did he stash it?
probably stashed it somewhere on accident, and I think he probably meant to throw it away.
Yeah.
Something like that. I don't think he wanted to actually keep that.
He
He has
forgot
enough
about it.
reminders just with John's death and as to like why he had that suicidal moment anyway. So I don't think he meant to keep that letter
No, I don't
at
think
all.
he did
And
either.
especially for Regina to find it.
I mean, I just wonder. I do wonder where it is. And then if it was in the bin, likewise, it's almost as if they're finding out each other's secret, even though Gina was not pregnant in the end. But they're finding out each other's secrets from going through their trash.
But it's probably in his coat pocket or something. Why do men always keep stuff in their like coat pocket, like the inside? It's probably in there somewhere on accident.
Well, it was just so emotional when the two of them just had this confrontation about the letter, and when Rome said, I have a great life, but what if this is the happiest I'm going to be? And he just broke down and she broke down, and the two of them were just recognizing the hurt that he was going through. And for the first time, she was actually seeing it. But I'm sure she was, hurting so much that he was hiding this from her, and that he never opened up to her about how much pain he was dealing with every day.
Right. I nearly cracked down when Gina said to Rome, "You are not the best part of my life. You are my life, and I will not lose you."
Yes.
That was so strong. And I think that will really push him to be more honest with her and really make an effort to have these thoughts come out of his head of whatever he's going through, because he can't even explain it himself.
Yeah.
And I'm sure there are so many as well, and I also wonder if he's actually talked to her about the antidepressants that he started taking, because he said it on the side on game night to Eddie, I think.
Yeah.
But
Or was it Gary?
Oh, Gary.
I don't remember. He said it to somebody.
Yeah, like just on the side. So I wonder if Gina knows,
Probably not.
where are his pills?
That's
Where
what's
is he keeping
another
them?
secret.
You guys, I just can't imagine being married to someone for however long they've been married, and then all of a sudden finding a letter like that and finding out that your spouse almost killed themselves. Like, how horrific that moment must have been for her.
Yes.
I feel like Rome needed to hear that, though. It's almost like he didn't feel, even though Regina is Regina, it's almost like he didn't feel like she would be understanding. So when she said that quote, like, "You are not the best part of my life, you are my life," I feel that's first of all, I've never seen him break down in any show or any movie like that. He is an amazing actor for
I
that.
agree.
He's
Bravo.
always funny
Bravo.
in a lot of his shows. I've never seen him in a drama, and this is amazing.
He was incredible
Yes.
in that scene.
Incredible.
Both of them were.
Yes.
Yes. And I also feel like between the two, this was kind of the first time that we really saw emotions coming out between them, because beforehand, it was kind of like this not basic, but a nice kind of relationship, just as Shelley would say, bulletproof, which isn't bulletproof at all. It's like full of holes that actually need to be filled. And I'm thinking at this point that these fillers are slowly coming into place. So I really wonder what's going to happen next then, if he does come out with the fact that he might want to have kids, and perhaps Regina will change her mind.
He just needs to work on his communication skills, because he should have sat down and told her about his suicide attempt already. He should have already had this conversation with her. So he's definitely been hiding a lot of things from her, and it's time for him to open up.
Yes.
That's what I was saying in my overall thoughts. I'm like, I'm disappointed in some of the characters. But, okay, wait, Brooks AG, going back to the letter, like, where did he put it?
Yeah.
Brooks AG, he said he put it in the desk drawer when he got the call. It's a bad habit for us guys. It's like women with their purses.
Wait, but it was all crinkled up. It was like, it was like a ball.
Didn't he? I think he did crinkle it up.
Yeah.
Wow.
And then,
Good
and then he did
memory.
crinkle it up.
Good memory
job.
back there.
Women in their purses. Wait a minute.
I have a lot of junk at the bottom of my purse.
So do I,
Yeah,
I'm
me
not gonna
too. Well, then here's
Yeah.
the thing as well. Like, men, I don't want to say this is a generic thing again, but I feel like they find it difficult to talk about these things and bring, emotional things forward. And also, again, about timing. Given everything that has happened already, a suicide, and then just having what was it? Not the relationship. The affair come out and everything else. It was just like, when was it the moment for Rome to really speak to Regina as well?
Yeah, but I think a lot of time has passed since then.
Yeah, I guess he was trying to hope that he will be okay with the antidepressants. However, I do agree he should be open with his wife. And I think in any relationship you should be open, because you're right, like, you're going to be married to somebody that's like your other half, your life. You should share these things, especially the things that you're going to have to battle through together. And now, speaking of which, we'll move on to Ashley, since she's hiding a lot of things that we still do not know about.
Wow.
I think it's for a good reason that Delilah will find out later. Because remember, she kind of played out in her house through her head, like, what would happen if she gave Delilah that blue envelope.
Which I thought was happening in real time.
Me too.
I thought that was actually a scene in the show that was happening.
Like, oh.
Not just her fantasy flash forward moment.
And I thought the whole turbulence was because of the fact that, I'm sorry, that, Jesus, she's pregnant.
Oh.
You know,
Oh, yeah, 'cause she's going through morning
emotions
sickness
that
and,
Delilah is going through this whole, like, emotional thing with her pregnancy and not really thinking or seeing right, and just, like, go. So I also thought it was real time.
Me too.
I would have reacted like that no matter what, whether I was pregnant or not. You know what I mean? Like, if all of a sudden I find out that my late husband's secretary had been hiding this important letter for me for weeks or months, however much time has passed, I would be furious. So I think that was a rational response.
But like I said, I think there's a reason why. Because even in that little, like, what if hypothetical moment, she was like, I'm trying to, but she couldn't get it out because Delilah was so furious. Then we don't know why. We still don't know. We have so many questions.
Yeah, and
She needs to give it to her. It is not her right to keep that from Delilah.
It's
It
not
is
true.
not her right.
Yep.
And what is in this blue letter? I'm seriously
We're not
questioning
gonna know
what
until the
is in
season
this
finale.
blue letter. Oh my God.
Well,
Please.
it's the will, right? Isn't it the will? The last will and testament with, like, Barbara Morgan's name on it and everything?
Probably.
Yeah.
And we still have to find out who Barbara Morgan is.
Right.
And apparently these letters in the mailbox that have been kept there, was that part of Barbara Morgan's place? Because there's a B on the keychain.
Oh, that was for the Bruins. That was the Bruins logo.
Okay.
The hockey team.
Was it?
UCLA.
Okay.
Yeah.
So here's the thing. Not being from here, I did not pick up on the flag colors. I genuinely thought it was
Blue
the
and
B
yellow.
for Barbara Morgan.
So, but I think that's John's work mailbox. And I mean, seeing all those overdue bills, it really made us think, like, you know, prior to this, we thought he was this perfect, organized businessman who tied up all these loose ends before he left everyone. But now we're seeing that's not really the case. Like, he actually left a big mess. So, I mean, the loan for the restaurant didn't go through. So I hope that they're able to come back from that.
Well, there's a
debacle.
million-
There were like 20 envelopes that said overdue on it. Or
not
past
good.
due.
Yeah.
More secrets from John.
Well, exactly. I mean, there's a million little things probably why he did what he did. There's
I see what you did there.
I see
you even got a sound effect. Wow.
But yeah, so I'm curious to see what Ashley's gonna do next, because we didn't see much of her before.
We never see much of her. I need to see much of her because I have a big question mark on my forehead with that with her every single time.
And I think slowly that's gonna be unraveled. So let's get into our news and gossip at this point.
All right.
TV News.
Featuring Maggie.
Well, thank you. Well, you guys, we have a million little reasons to celebrate this week because ABC just announced that A Million Little Things is getting a complete full first season. So, yay, we're excited. I announced last week that we had additional episodes, but it just came out a few days ago that ABC did, in fact, order a full season. So, woo, good news. And then the other little bit of gossip that I was going to mention was that on DJ Nash's Twitter, he's the creator of the show, the writer of the show, he had a Twitter poll about who the father of Delilah's baby is. And out of all the fans who participated in the poll, 59% said it was Eddie, like the three of us, and 41% said John. So the majority was correct, and most people thought it was Eddie. Interesting.
You all are immoral. I'm just kidding. I'm with the Eddie people. We're all with the Eddie
And
people.
we know it
Yes.
is in the end.
So that's it for news and gossip this week, guys. Thanks.
Well, so, I mean, that was nearly a 50-50 call, though, because it was tough to
Yeah.
figure it out.
It was like 60-40, 59-41.
Nearly, yeah. So,
Pretty close.
and it's pretty interesting because I think both ways I was pretty shocked when she said, oh, it's John's. And
What
then
if she
said,
lied again?
Oh my gosh.
Oh, please,
What if
Delilah.
she lied
Please
again?
stop.
This is why Delilah just has been making me mad. This
There were a
whole
lot of
season.
bombs dropped and a lot of shocking moments in this episode. It was a great episode.
Yeah.
So Brooks, you're saying a lot of key things today. He said, this is the problem I have with Delilah. She's playing the grieving widow, being distraught when John killed himself, but she was getting ready to leave him and didn't love him anymore. Like, she doesn't know who... She's having an identity crisis, I think. But I understand circumstance. But, like, she's making it harder on herself sometimes.
Well, I mean, it's different to have someone commit suicide versus splitting up amicably or splitting up and going your separate ways. Like, that's someone she has history with, someone with that she has children with. I mean, that's pretty difficult.
It's hard.
Yeah,
It's
that's-
very, very
She
hard.
still didn't have to lie to Eddie when she had the time. I mean, like, don't lie to the baby daddy.
Yeah.
When you had that moment.
But then that's the thing. He would have come out, like, he really was ready to be a father. And I think at this point, they still kind of want to handle the whole relationship dynamic also between Catherine and Eddie properly. And I think, the ending was actually quite nice. I felt like it was sort of an uplifting ending, especially with Theo again coming to his dad and saying, if it doesn't scare you, that doesn't mean that it should stop you from performing. So that was,
was great.
Beautiful performance on Eddie's part, and then Theo just uplifting him. And I feel like it had a positive response for Eddie then towards Delilah as well.
I was a bit nervous that Eddie wasn't going to be able to perform sober, and it was an amazing show. And, hopefully we'll see more of that from Eddie. Hopefully he'll have this newfound love for performing live and a newfound confidence.
Yes. Well,
So wait, this is off topic, but the chat is just
it's
juicy.
going up. Oh,
It's
here we
juicy.
go.
Love the chat.
Oh,
So
what's
wait,
going on?
Luann Simon, we're going back to John for a sec. Luann Simon says, what if Barbara Morgan, she said, and maybe a secret wife, Barbara Morgan. What if Barbara Morgan is a secret wife?
A secret wife?
So, or a secret, like, affair. I won't say wife because it's, like, illegal to have two, like, wives at the same time in
Whoa.
this country. So,
Like John has a whole separate
Like a whole
family?
separate
Has
affair.
another affair
Another
with
affair.
a family,
Yeah.
or we don't know. Okay, well, let's jump into.
oh, man.
Man, we have a lot to think about.
I mean, okay, before we get into our
I know, I know,
predictions,
I know.
before we get into that, let's do our special segment of hashtag Little Things ABTV. So, what's a little thing that you took away from this episode, Tay?
Honesty.
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 Elaborate. What's the
Yes,
honesty
because
in this?
Honesty, you should always be honesty. You should always be honest, especially with your significant other, the one person you said for better if you're worse to, the vows, everything, just no matter what it is, tell your significant other, aka Rome, and be honest, Delilah, to Eddie in the get-go.
So I actually wrote down the same one. I said honesty is the best policy, but I will also add don't meddle in other people's business, Shelley,
It's not like Shelley at all.
and mind your business. And my last one, I actually did not know this. Don't feed ducks bread because they could get very sick and not be able to fly.
I need to tell my friend that because
So I didn't know that. So that's a
Yes.
takeaway.
I actually knew that because in the UK we loved to feed ducks bread. And then we had to be taught, no, you should not be feeding ducks bread.
Well, now I know.
Because you can kill them with a whole loaf of it as well. Didn't you see that in Notting Hill, the movie with Hugh Grant? He kills a duck.
I do love that movie.
man.
I forgot that happened.
I took away the little message that Theo says to his dad about if it scares you, that doesn't mean you shouldn't do it. I think that was a beautiful message because often I feel like, in my perspective, like I won't go for something because I fear I won't succeed in it. But then I'm like, actually, let me pull through it. And then you never know what you're going to learn out of it. And then ultimately, besides honesty, open communication, the importance of it. You have to communicate up front. Because if you leave anything any longer, look at the damage that it can cause.
Absolutely. That's a great takeaway.
Hashtag little things, ABTV, and please chime in on whatever you took away from this episode. We love to hear your thoughts, and we read your comments and reply as well. So now let's get into our predictions.
And now,
spooky.
your AfterBuzz TV
Happy Halloween.
predictions.
Okay,
very
let's start off with you,
Halloween-y.
Maggie. What do you think?
Yay. Okay, so my predictions for the next episode are that Gary is going to continue to try to convince Maggie to get chemo. I don't know if he's going to be successful in the next episode, but I know he's not going to let it go. And then I think we're going to see more from Catherine in the next episode. And hopefully we're going to see more of Rome and Regina actually opening up and communicating with one another.
Yes.
Well, to further your prediction with Maggie, I think Gary is going to be successful.
Good.
And she actually, hopefully, will get the chemo to save her life. Try to. And Rome is going to tell Regina that he wants kids.
Yes.
And that probably will put a damper on a lot of things because she seems so stern as to not having kids at all.
Right.
Yeah, I mean, I think so as well. Maggie's going to go get chemo. And I think you're right that Rome will tell Regina he wants kids. But I think he's also going to open up about the antidepressants. And she will then say to him, we're not going to have kids until you come off these antidepressants. So I think that's going to be a
But he
transition.
may
I like
need
that,
them
though.
forever.
Well, perhaps
Because that's what his therapist said. His therapist said, he said, how long do I have to be on these? And he's like, well, if they work, forever.
yeah. But he also is questioning it. And he was able to survive without them beforehand. And now that he has that strong support structure and what she had said so powerfully to him, I feel like that may shift a little conscious there. I hope. That's all
Sure.
We never know.
Yeah, we never know.
Yeah, I honestly don't think he needs them. Those the antidepressants.
think
to
so,
be
I think
honest.
he
too.
does. I think he does.
Oh, really?
Oh, yeah.
He doesn't even know why he feels the way he feels. I think that's just like a crutch and like a reason, like just to put a name on like, oh, something is wrong with me. Let me take these.
Well, I hope that he continues to go to therapy so he can figure out what the root of his problems are.
True.
Yes.
I'm glad it's not with Maggie anymore, though.
Well,
Therapy.
that was a little bit awkward as well.
no, 'cause she has
that wouldn't
issues
have
of her
worked.
own. She
Yes.
needs therapy.
Yeah, yeah.
She does.
No thanks.
Well, we all.
Ooh, can I say
Yes.
one more prediction? I think that maybe because you guys are talking about Rome and Regina talking about, Rome's desire to possibly have children in the future, I could see them adopting. Because maybe she just doesn't want to carry a child and go through the birthing process, but I could see them adopting an older child or becoming foster parents.
Yeah.
Then once she probably adopts, then she's gonna want like, oh, I want to go through the process now that she's a mother.
Maybe.
She probably will then.
Yeah, she
they'll
probably
adopt and then
will.
they'll have children too.
Yeah.
That would be great.
Yeah.
It's gonna be a big friend family, let's just say. Well, to encompass it then, and since it's Halloween, I'm sure a lot of parents are out with their kids trick-or-treating. We're gonna end on that note. So thank you so much for tuning in. You can find me on social media at Yasmine Tanres. And where can we find you, lovely ladies?
You can find me at Maggie Clark on camera on Instagram and at Maggie on camera on Twitter.
And you can find me everywhere, Tay Alexandria TV, mostly Instagram and Twitter.
Thank you so much for tuning in. We'll see you next week.
Thank you guys. Happy
Bye.
Halloween.
Happy Halloween.
Bye.
Our founder, Keven Undergaro, Phil Svitek, and me, Maria Menounos, would like to thank you for tuning in to AfterBuzz TV. Remember, we're not just the first, we're the biggest in the world, and we're the only destination for all your favorite TV shows. Whatever you crave, we've got it. So go to AfterBuzzTV.com and check out our lineup. Buzz you later.
The views expressed herein are those of the hosts only and do not necessarily reflect the views of AfterBuzz TV or its owners or principal.